Sim racing is an exciting hobby that blends precision, immersion, and the quest for realism, and often comes with its fair share of financial considerations. But whether you're a budget-conscious enthusiast or ready to splurge, one thing's clear: your choice of monitor can make or break the experience. So when I decided to set up a second rig for testing hardware in my new studio, it felt like the perfect opportunity to explore various display options. And then, out of the blue, Pixio Gaming, a brand that I had not encountered before, got in touch as they wanted me to take their gaming monitors for a spin in a sim racing setup. The first on the list is the Pixio PXC 348C, a 34-inch ultra-wide curved monitor boasting a 144Hz refresh rate, 1440p resolution, HDR, and a snappy 1 millisecond response time. In this review, I'll dive into all the features, specs, and performance of this Pixio PXC 348C gaming monitor and see if it's a match made in heaven for sim racing aficionados. Let's hit the virtual track and find out if this budget-friendly monitor can truly elevate your sim racing game. The PXC 348C doesn't go for a flashy gaming-looking design, and personally I think that's just right for a sim racing setup. I would think that most sim racers, myself included, would prefer a monitor that blends in rather than stands out, and this one does that brilliantly with its matte black finish and an understated look that won't steal the spotlight from your sim racing setup.
However, if you want a bit of a gaming RGB look, there is a light ring behind the monitor which can be changed to cycle colors or display a static color for a more subtle look. While it's not an enormous monitor by today's standards, it is wider due to its ultra-wide aspect ratio from a standard monitor. I had no trouble here mounting it to the single freestanding monitor stand that I have from Advanced Sim Racing. Now, speaking of build quality, it is pretty solid. During my short time with it, I didn't notice any glaring issues like wonky panels or visible gaps in the construction. When you need to tweak the settings or access various features on the monitor, I appreciated the OSD joystick that's placed on the back near the right-hand side of the screen, making it convenient to use without getting in your way. Now, in the world of sim racing, having the right connectivity options is crucial. The Pixio PXC 348C does cover the basics, offering DisplayPort 1.4 and HDMI 2.0 ports, ensuring compatibility with various devices, including gaming PCs and even MacBooks if you're using the same monitor potentially for gaming, sim racing, as well as work and creating. However, it's worth noting that the built-in speakers might not quite meet the audio demands of serious sim racing enthusiasts. I would assume that most gamers and sim racers out there would already be using a set of headphones or external speakers, and I would definitely recommend that, as I was definitely not satisfied with the audio quality from the built-in speakers. But this is the case with most gaming monitors out there. When it comes to sim racing, having the right monitor display can make all the difference. The PXC 348C steps into the ring with some decent specs: a 34-inch curved VA panel with a 1500R curvature, a 3440 by 1440 resolution, a super smooth 144Hz refresh rate, and a speedy 1 millisecond response time. Now, reviewing gaming monitors is not my usual thing, so I don't have all the fancy measuring tools. Still, on paper, this monitor claims to reach a maximum brightness of 450 nits and offers a 4000 by 1 contrast ratio. It's worth noting that even though it's marketed as an HDR gaming monitor, it doesn't carry the official HDR certification. And I have to admit, the HDR mode wasn't all that bad, but certainly didn't get as bright as others I've used. But I found I enjoyed the HDR mode over SDR in titles like ACC and iRacing. One thing that did impress me though was the monitor's ability to cover a wide range of colors. This means you get vibrant and vivid colors right out of the box. Most monitors ship with overly bright and unrealistic colors, but not this one. It looked pretty good, but I did make one change to the color temperature from normal to warm, which is in most cases more accurate and what my eyes prefer and are accustomed to. You can still fine-tune it to your liking or even calibrate it if you're into that. But for most sim racers and gamers, it's pretty much ready to use as is. Now let's talk about the brightness in SDR mode. The monitor is plenty bright enough. However, as I mentioned, while it claims to support HDR, it doesn't quite deliver the full HDR experience. During my time with it, I did notice a bit of ghosting during fast transitions, but nothing really game-breaking or ruining the moment. But it's something to keep in mind, especially if you're considering this for sim racing and other fast-paced games. On the plus side, the monitor is compatible with both FreeSync and G-Sync technologies, meaning you get smooth gameplay without screen tearing or stuttering. This can introduce some input lag, but in my experience it's worth it as it's still plenty responsive with a smoother overall experience. Now let's talk about the price. Considering all these features and the price, I couldn't help but think this monitor might find its true calling in the $300 to $350 price range. It would make it an even more attractive option for sim racing fans on a budget, or anyone looking to upgrade their regular desktop monitor to an ultra-wide gaming monitor without breaking the bank. To sum things up, the Pixio PXC348C is a decent option for sim racing, especially for newcomers to the hobby looking to build their first setup on a limited budget. With its ultra-wide curved display, great looking colors, and sharp resolution, anyone upgrading from a basic desktop monitor or smaller display should improve their overall racing experience. Its 144Hz refresh rate might not satisfy the most competitive sim racers and gamers out there chasing the highest frame rates, but it is probably more than sufficient for most sim racing scenarios. And if you're searching for a reasonably priced monitor just to enhance your sim racing setup, I think the Pixio PXC348C deserves a place on your list. It's a value-conscious choice that strikes a good balance between performance, quality, and affordability in the world of ultra-wide gaming monitors.
Thanks for watching this review. If you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Your support goes a long way in recommending my content to others who enjoy similar videos. And if you haven't already, consider hitting that subscribe button to stay tuned for more sim racing content. Until the next one, stay safe and enjoy your racing.